So Matt Gaetz has withdrew from being Donald Trump's attorney general, and he says it's because he doesn't want his nomination to be a distraction from the important work that Trump and Vance has to do. Well, I hate to tell him this, but all of Trump's cabinet picks have been nothing but one big distraction. That's the whole point of Trump's cabinet picks, because they're not put there because they're the most qualified. They're not put there because they know anything about the position they're assuming. They're put there to destroy that position. And so he has picked the most over the top people to be in these spots, and we all start talking about it, and we all start pointing to how unqualified they are and how unfit they are, and we start pointing to all the reports that have been written up about them that needs to come out publicly. And Trump's sitting back going, you know what? That's the entire point. I want to distract everybody. I want to muddy the water. I want to create as much chaos as possible so I can put these people in these departments that they will then destroy. That's the whole point. So we could sit here all day long and we could point out the obvious about Matt Gaetz. And that is, first of all, his colleagues all knows the kind of guy that he is. Marjorie Taylor Greene was saying, hey, if you're going to oust him, then I'm going to oust the rest of you. They all know the kind of man that he truly is. They just don't care. They were trying to hold on to power, and they were trying to do everything that Trump said, and they're afraid to say no to Trump because they realize that they're going to have to pledge their undying loyalty to him, like this is Jonestown all over again. So they knew what kind of guy that Gaetz was, and if that report had been squeaky clean and he had been innocent, then they would have had no problem with it being released. The fact that they didn't want it released speaks volumes. So we can all sit here and point to the obvious when it comes to Matt Gaetz. He was a terrible choice. He was one of the most insane, over-the-top choices that Trump has made so far. But I got to be honest with you guys, I don't feel any better about who it could be next. I mean, do you? Do you honestly think Trump's going to pick someone who we're going to go, that's a good pick. That's a qualified person. That's a reasonable human being. No, he's going to pick a yes man, and he may pick someone even worse. And I know you're saying, how's that possible, Brando? But look at who he's picked so far. Everybody he's picked is either unqualified, well, they're all unqualified. They're unfit. Some of them are compromised. I mean, you literally have Pete Hegseth, you have Tulsi Gabbard, you have RFK Jr. He's probably still the most disturbing one to me. I understand just how disturbing Matt Gaetz was as Attorney General, the idea of that. But RFK over our health decisions, that is something that's beyond me how anyone could think that was a good idea. Even, I mean, I know Republicans, there are some reasonable ones left, but you would think that someone, even within Trump's team, would be like, hey, look, we know we had to blow some smoke up that guy's ass to get a nomination, but just do what you always do and kick him to the curb. But for everyone that thinks Trump is a smart guy and a smart businessman, and he only picks the best and the brightest, he hasn't even took office yet. What is it, a week, 2 weeks after the election now, and he's already, well, he's made several bad choices, but one's already come back to bite him in the ass. So this is the guy that's supposed to have everyone's, he's going to take care of everyone's problems on day one. He's going to fix it all. And he only picks the best of people, but he's already picked somebody with this ethics report on him that was so bad that the guy himself just had to withdraw and pull away from it. Now, we don't know what will become of Matt Gaetz. I've read several different articles and heard from several different people that say, his career may not be over. He very well may rear his ugly head again. And that there wasn't no pun intended there. I meant that literally, his ugly head again. I mean, we may have to put up with him or deal with him in the future. But for now, we don't have to worry about him being the Attorney General. So there's at least that. A friend of mine said, well, Brando, this feels like a small victory. And I said, well, yeah, I mean, it definitely would have been a bigger loss if he'd got confirmed. So I'll take it. I'll take this little small victory, and maybe this is a sign of things to come. Maybe it's a sign that there's already trouble in paradise, and maybe it will all just implode. And I hope that innocent people don't get hurt along the way and lose their benefits and lose their life's work. I really hope that I hope there's some way we can salvage this eventually and attempt to put the toothpaste back in the tube if it's at all possible. But the one thing that I did want to talk about, saying that the distraction was the entire point. I was talking to a good friend of mine earlier. He was on one of my lives named Wayne Bledsoe, one of my dear friends. He's a Knoxville journalist, a music writer, and just a pillar of the music community. You can check out that video here on my channel if you go to the live videos. He's one of my best friends too. He's been there for me. He was a supporter of me and my music before any of you guys knew who Tennessee Brando was, or before Tennessee Brando was even a thought in my mind. And so shout out to Wayne. He's one of my favorite humans. But I hadn't seen him since the election. And we had talked, of course. We had texted back and forth, but we hadn't saw each other in person. And when I saw him, I could see on his face that he, that we were in uncertain times. I could see that he was stressed about it. And I just said, Wayne, how the hell did this happen? Which is what I asked him back in 2016 when Trump got elected the first time. How the hell did this happen? And this time when I asked him, he said, well, we have been up against one big giant propaganda machine for over 30 years now. And that's the truth. We really have been. The right wing has went out there, and love them or hate them, they've done a masterful job of bastardizing everything the left stands for and slowly turn it down. And they've done so by building us up, like I said in the previous video, in a straw man style argument, and then just destroying us and gaslighting us every step of the way and convincing people that we're just the devil himself. And that propaganda machine is so strong that it ventures over into your churches. You have ministers preaching MAGA politics from the pulpit. Now you have podcasters and all sorts of people pushing that out there. So when they say the liberal media, I think the right-wing media has got a much broader reach, and obviously it does if we're seeing what we're seeing now. But Wayne was right. We were just up against one big, giant propaganda machine, and the question becomes, how do we combat that propaganda machine? How do we work against it? And how do we get our messages across? And I think that people like us just needs to stay on point, stay on message, and always try to stand up for our democracy, for our daughter's future, for women's rights, for marginalized groups that's going to need our help now more than ever. But I also believe that the DNC and the powers that be is going to have to tap back in to that group of people. Because if you go back and look at the times we won, it was when people like Obama tapped in to the country and what they were feeling. And I think the Democrats haven't done that in a long time, because the propaganda machine has been so loud that they can't just come in the last 3 months of an election and pick up and be like, hey, here we are, we're here to run against this. Because they've had that propaganda machine out there putting them down for 30 years nonstop. They never get off the microphone. They never stop talking. And what I said to Wayne in my video, an analogy I made was, imagine if you had a family. You had a really big family, and you needed help raising that family. And let's say you had a cousin who was going to come help out with things. And that cousin was one of the smartest, most well-educated people you knew. He was very good at getting things done. He knew how to take care of the family. He knew how to keep food on the table. He knew how to make sure all the bills got paid and everyone's health got taken care of. And he was good at all those things. He was very smart. But the rest of the family just thought he was a snob. The rest of the family believed a lot of untrue rumors about him that weren't true. But he never addressed those rumors. He never spoke up about it. He just sort of stayed quiet about it and let people assume things. And then let's say that you just had a drunk uncle just screaming and just yelling at the clouds constantly, talking about how bad the family had it. Meanwhile, you're trying to tell the family, hey, this cousin that's on his way, he's a really good guy and he'll help us get out of this mess. But you never heard from him. Then he shows up right near the end. The whole family's already against him before he gets there. He can't get ahead because they've already been convinced by the drunk uncle that he's not the right person for the job. And so they're not going to listen to him. They're going to listen to the drunk uncle. I feel like that's where we're at. Democrats can't expect to just show up at the last minute and win over people when people like us here at the Midas Touch Network and everyone else has been constantly going to bat for them and saying, yeah, they're the most qualified. Yeah, they have your better interest at heart. Yeah, they're going to work for everybody. But it's hard to convince the people of that when you've got that constant propaganda machine just going full blast in their ear and in their pulpit and on their radio and in their earbuds. So we got to get out there and we got to get our messages heard, and we have to have people that are willing to talk to us and to engage with us and to acknowledge us that we're here. I think that's how we start to beat it, because otherwise we could sit here and do all the heavy lifting. But whoever's going to be the nominee, and I don't want to say like who I'm going to predict or nothing, because it's too soon. And to tell you folks, I don't have the answer. But whoever it is needs to start right now. They should have been starting the day after. Whoever's next should step forward and start campaigning and don't stop, because Trump has been campaigning ever since he came down the escalator. And guess what? When he gets in office, he'll continue to campaign. They'll all continue to campaign. They'll all continue to run us all on the ground. And we can sit here and talk and talk and talk and build our platforms and do the best that we can. But if they themselves, the DNC, does not acknowledge us and tap into that group, and just gives us somebody again that we've saw before or that no one has any faith in, then we're going to remain in the same boat. So I just sometimes hope these videos land in the right ears is all I can say. But I thank you guys so much. I know that they land in your ears every day, and I appreciate you for being here. I appreciate you for listening. I appreciate you for reaching out to me. I want you to know that I am trying to read and catch up on all my emails. But folks, I've got so many, and I'm so swarmed with emails, text messages, and phone calls that if I don't reply to all of them, just know that I am reading them and I care about what you have to say. And I love hearing your opinions and takes on things. They eventually, I will say, work their way into my videos because you guys make me think, and I appreciate that. But if you haven't already, be sure and hit that subscribe button. We crossed over 400,000, and I would like to see if we could get, I think we're at 415 now. We're getting on up there, so I would like to see us get to 500 before January 20th, before Inauguration Day. I would love to see us hit 500,000. I think we can achieve that, so let's try to work toward that, and I appreciate you guys so much for supporting what it is that I do. If you haven't already, be sure also to check out our Patreon. It's linked up in the description on this video, and over there I've been doing a lot of non-political content, just a lot of my Mount Rushmores of books and things like that. I've reviewed cigars, I've fired up the grill, I've played some music. Sometimes we use Patreon as a way to just go over and blow off some steam and get away from all these crazy stories like Matt Gaetz and all the MAGA crazies. So if you haven't checked that out, be sure to. And folks, we're going to have a bumpy ride, but I appreciate y'all being along for the ride with me, and we'll make it.